Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we had the entire offseason, and his team is coming together, I think. Now I am pre-recording this episode a little bit ahead of time just because obviously I kind of want to see what this team does. I'm very curious always when this team gets built up quite well to see how they actually do. So I am pre-recording this episode, but I will likely still show you guys his comments up on your predictions for how many wins we're supposed to get. If any of you guys commented about that, I do think this team should hit around 30, maybe even 35 wins. Because last two seasons we've had 26 and 28 wins. I feel like this is a year we're definitely going to hit at least 30 wins. But I feel like we could honestly go as high as 35 because our defensive core is improving. Our goaltending tandem is improving as well. Neal's actually listed as a backup goaltender. So I think this team has the potential to pull off something decent this year. As well as our top six is actually pretty good, but our bottom six still needs some works. Claxton is on the uprise still, which is good. Hopefully he continues getting growth. And then also Hull's still a 78, but at least he's a guy that could kind of produce because of his offensive talents. Should be interesting to see what Felix Walzer does, though, because this guy was a second-round pick of ours. His offensive awareness isn't that high yet, but he's got okay shooting and whatnot. So we'll see if this guy could score some goals for us. We also got like Cox, who's also a decent goal scorer. So I think this team should do a little bit better than the last few seasons. So I'm saying at least 30 wins, maybe 35 at the most. I don't think we hit 40 wins obviously this year, but I'd say at least 30 to 35. So, and we probably won't be the worst team in the league. That's also my prediction. So anyways, that is that. Before we actually get into simulating, let's take a look at our new players. And I also do need to still assign my scouts over to the new locations. So I got to make sure to do that because I haven't done that yet. I was meant to do that in between episodes, but I started recording and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do that. So anyways, let's take a look at our new players on our team. That includes Harakala and I believe, yeah, a couple other players. So center-wise, our team is still the same. Left wing-wise, our team is still the same. The first one is Felix Walzer. Like I said, he was our second-round pick, I think, last year, or maybe the year before that. Let's take a look at what he looks like. He looks like this. Blonde guy, got some blonde beard, nothing too special. Where's the number 61? Not bad. Some pretty sick skates though, gotta admit that. So there is Walzer. Let's take a look at our defensive prospect in Harakala. Very excited to see what this guy does this year. It's kind of weird still that he has no zone ability, but he should do very good offensively based on his attributes. So once that offensive awareness hits like a 90 plus and his passing hits like a 90 plus, this guy could be a Norris Trophy winner for sure. So, but our defensive core is definitely coming together quite well. We got Zikov and Moroza locked up to very solid contracts, I'd say. So hopefully Koimainen and Harakala aren't relatively too expensive either. And hopefully we can keep signing Strachan to being a top 6 defenseman, because if so, our defensive core is going to be good for multiple years. So let's take a look at Harakala. See what he looks like. Hopefully he has a cool face. And nothing too special. He's got nice flow, I should say that, but he's got kind of a interesting looking face. So there's what he looks like, and his skates are also those nice CCM ones. Interesting. CCM gloves as well. And where's the number 68? Okay, so those I think are our only new players on our NHL roster. Yep, those are our only new players on the NHL roster. So let's get to assigning our scouts first. And then we'll see what this team could do. Very excited to see what they could do. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we're not the worst team in the league this year. So let's assign our 8 scouts that we hired in the offseason. So our first one, we need to put 2 in Russia. I didn't want to go hire scouts, goddamn. We want to go change region and assign 2 of these guys over to Russia. Hopefully they could find ourselves some pretty decent players, and hopefully they'll get some good growth at the region in a few seasons only. So we'll send you over to Russia there, sir. Or are you a female? Jalen, okay, you're a male. I just wanted to make sure on that front because I know I would get roasted otherwise. Hanula, we'll send you over to Russia as well. Good luck over there. Do us proud. So there's our 2 Russian scouts. We also needed 1 in the USA West, so we'll send House over to the USA West and see what he could do over there, or she could do over there. USA, and we will go to the West. We also needed one in the OHL. So we will send Surovi, even though that name is from like the Czech Republic or Slovakia. We'll send you over to the OHL. And hopefully you can find us some good OHL prospects over there. Hey, what the heck? Yeah, we got an achievement. Nice. I didn't realize there was an achievement for assigning scouts over to the OHL, but there you go. I got that achievement. So thank you guys for telling me about these scouting things to do. Next one. We got to send 2 over to the QMJHL. Looks like, let's see. Yeah, we got to send 2 over to the QMJHL. One more to the QMJHL, and then we got 1 in the Extra Liga and 1 in USA Central. Good old Central USA. Okay, so there you go on that one. And now we got to send you to the Extra Liga, which is in Europe. There we go. Enjoy the Extra Liga. And the last one is USA Central. I wrote down USA Central, but there's 2 assigned already to USA Central, so it's got to be USA West then? Or when, yeah, it's got to be USA East or West. That's weird. Huh, I thought it was USA Central I wrote down, but whatever. We'll put you in USA West or East. 10-9-2, 11 and 6, so that's 17, and that's a lot more. So we'll go to USA West. There you go. So there you go. Our scouts are all assigned and ready for their scouting assignments. Let's see what we could do in terms of this season and see how much wins we could get. Like I said, I think 30 wins at least, and I feel like we're not going to be a worse team in the league this year. But at the most, I feel like we're going to get 35 wins. I don't think this team is capable of hitting 40 wins, but I mean, let's have a good season at least. Play a bit better defensively. Hopefully, Heracala could win like the Calder or something. That'd be nice as well. But 4-4 in the preseason, not too bad. And Festerini led the team in points, which is a good sign considering we literally just locked him up for like 4 years, I think it was. So if he's going to produce like that, hopefully he continues to do that all year round. Let's go to January the 1st and take the season a little bit slow. So this episode's not a very short one, even though last episode I'm pretty sure is a very long one. Just because I end up talking a lot longer than I should have. But oh well, that happens time to time. There's our first win of the season against Ottawa, but we are kind of on a slide to start the year, and we do beat Florida. There's our 3rd win in our first month. There's our 4th win, okay. Not too bad. Similar start to last year, it feels like. 8-3 win over Winnipeg is nice to see as well. So it looks like our offense is probably not the problem at the moment. It's a bit inconsistent, but I mean, that's going to happen with a team that's like a draft glory team. We're 9-10-2 all of us, and we're almost at 500. But we're probably not going to get above 500 at any point, I don't think. But as long as we could kind of stay as close as possible. Like, we're definitely not going to get, I think, a top 5 pick this year. That's my guess. But then again, we could end up winning the draft lottery still, so. But, like, look at that. We're right at 500 right now, almost. So we're doing actually a lot better than I expected, to be honest. Well, I'm expecting at least 30 wins, like I said. And right now, at halfway point of the season, 17, 17, and 3. We have the same amount of wins as losses. And Parrots over point per game. That's great to see. So that top line is working well. Top line's working well. And we're only like how many points? 7 points back of a playoff spot, it looks like, in our division. But the wild card spot in the playoffs has 43. Or no, it's 44. Why is it? Oh, the top team isn't showing because of the fact I joined this division. That's interesting. So there you go. Let's continue simulating and get the rest of the season done. I don't think we're going to be a playoff team, but if we could have more than 30 wins still, that'd be great. Hey, look at that. We're above 500 for the first time, in terms of wins at least. Yeah, this team is doing actually really solid. What the heck? Was not expecting this early on. Especially considering we don't have the best depth in terms of offense, like on the bottom 6 especially. But, I mean, we're winning games. Like, we're almost going to hit 30 wins early in the season. There's a couple losses in a row, though, so that's definitely going to hurt us in the long run. Sorry, I had to pause the simulation because my voice, and I do have a bit of a cough today, so I apologize on that front, but let's continue simulating. Sorry about that, but we're still right around 500, but we're below it now because of the losing streak. But hey, it's a learning process for this team. So there's a couple one win at least. Let's bypass this trade deadline. Let's at least hit those 30 wins, guys, which we are only 4 away from, so that's good to see. What the heck is this? Columbus gets Tim Stützle and Tyler Boucher from Ottawa for Werenski at 5th and Lindgren. God damn it, Ottawa. Why are you making boneheaded decisions? And yeah, okay. Win over the Oilers, win over Columbus. Yeah, we're going to definitely hit 30 wins this year. There is 29 wins, so that's our best season yet. We just need one more win for 30. And there it is over the Blues. 30, 37, and 4. Nice. Yeah, we're not going to be a playoff team, but we do hit 30 wins. We do hit 33 wins now. There's a winning streak all of a sudden here late in the season. What is going on? There's a loss, though. And we are going to finish with 37 wins this year. And yep, we're not the worst team in the league. 37 wins. So even a little bit better than I predicted, which I said 30 to 35. But we hit 37 wins, 41 losses, and 4 regulation losses. Let's make sure the rest of the teams are done their season. And there we go. So Parrott led the team in points, 82 points in 82 games. That's great to see him break out. He's been our best player probably in terms of offense the last few years. Well, in terms of goal scoring at least. In terms of points, it's always been Jorgensen, I think. But let's take a look at those standings and stuff first. Then we'll take a look at the player stats. So entire league-wise, where did we finish this year? Wow, look at that. We finished 27th. We are a point better than San Jose and Detroit, a couple points better than the Jets, a couple points better than St. Louis and the Devils, and then Carolina was in dead last. So we were not the worst team in the league this season. That's great to see. Goals for per game, we were one of the worst offensive teams in the league, though, which is kind of surprising. So the depth scoring must not be there, really. But goals against per game wise, looks like we improved a lot. Looks like Neil actually had a good season. Where did we finish in goals against? Mid-table? Yep, looks like Neil had a much better season, and our defensive core with the addition of the OFD definitely made our team a little bit better. Power play percentage-wise, even though we were a bad offensive team, we had one of the best power plays in the league. 19.5%. Not too bad. And 84.1 on the penalty kill, which is also pretty good. So our special teams definitely improved this season. That's really good to see. 5 shorthanded goals as well, 14, 26, and 1 on home ice, and 23, 15, and 3 on the road. So we had an above 500 road record, but weren't great on home ice. 6-4-0 in our last 10 games as well to end the season. So a pretty successful year, I'd say, in terms of that at least. Let's take a look at the player stats and see who did what this year. So let's start off with the center core. Avery Parrott, obviously, 82 points, 82 games, minus 10. But 27 power play points this year, 15 goals. His potential did jump up to medium franchise, so this is nice to see. And yeah, he's been getting better still almost every single year. Last year he had a little bit of a regression, but very good season from Parrott. And yeah, hopefully he continues to get development. His offensive awareness still isn't super high, which is kind of weird, but his shooting category is off the charts. He's got good passing, or good enough passing. Yeah, he's just really built all around. I do like that. Good, we locked him up, I guess. Derek Keith, 63 points in 82 games. His ELC comes to an end this year. Yep. He's going to be pretty expensive, I'd say, because he's a two-way forward, but we'll see what we could get him for. He only had 1 power play goal, but 21 power play points, so set up a lot of goals, I guess, for Parrott. His face-off percentage still over 50% as well, and he had 119 takeaways this year, so he might actually be up there for the Selke, which would be pretty amazing, considering this is only his 3rd season. Zykov hit 55 points this year, so Zykov regressed a lot, maybe just because he got dropped down in the lineup a little bit, but his production has been going down a little bit lately, which is not great. Only 9 power play points, maybe it's because he's on the 2nd power play unit, but look at those face-off numbers. 57% on the draw this year. And then he had 62 takeaways, so his takeaway count wasn't there really, but 57% on the face-off dot is insane. So he won a lot of faceoffs, and that's very important for this team. Claxton, 27 points, minus 26. He's up to a 78 overall at 22. Not bad. He is becoming an okay kind of 3rd-line option at the most. Like, I think he might end up getting up to like an 81, 82, but that's still very helpful for his team. So very much like that. Grattan had 20 points, but he's still one of these guys that we're trying to replace in the bottom 6, I'd say. Bickle, 71 points this year, 41 goals, so he's going to still demand a lot of price because I qualified him, but we're going to have to sign him long-term. Yeah, we're going to have to sign him long-term, I think. He hasn't hit his point total from his second NHL season, but 71 points this year, 41 goals is good to see. Yeah, we're going to have to give him a big contract. The question is how much, or well, we could give him term and stuff like that if we want to. Festerini hit 58 points this year. I am impressed with Festerini. We signed this guy to a very good contract, and he's been producing relatively well as well, so yeah, his contract is really good. Just under $5 million, but he is producing really well. Cox hit 30 points this year. That's pretty solid. Still 78. Hull had 19 points this year, so he's kind of not doing that well offensively anymore, but still 78 to give us a little bit more depth. Right wing wise, Jorgensen hit 77 points this year. He's still been in one of our best consistent players this franchise mode, so there he is in terms of points. Let's take a look at those other stats. 98 takeaways. That's not bad for a winger. So there you go on Jorgensen. Villette hit 27 points this year, and Felix Walzer had a little bit of a rough year, looks like. He took over 100 shots, which is good, but 7 points, only 4 goals this year. And he shot 3.9%. Yikes. Huh. I don't know if he'll do better if he got more power play time or whatnot, because we moved him up to the 3rd line this year, and he got outperformed by Cox, who was on the 4th line, so maybe Walzer should be more of a 4th line option. Defensively, Zykov 30 points, minus 10, not too bad. Kronwall 20 points, minus 8. That's pretty solid for a 76. Koimainen 19 points, minus 9. He's up to an 81. That's good to see, but once again, his ELC comes to an end next year, which means more money to spend. Hirakawa, only 19 points this year and a minus 11, but he has jumped up to an 82 already. So he's probably going to be on the progression soon. But only 3 power play points, so maybe he should have been on the 2nd unit. But yeah, not bad. He blocked actually a lot of shots for an OFD as well, so hopefully he continues to get some growth. Moroza had 15 points, which is not too bad. Glad I locked him up still. And Strachan had 5 points. Goalie-wise, Neal was 30, 31, and 4 with 4 shutouts this year, a 908 save percentage and a 2.82. So Harry Neal was actually really good when he did play. 4 shutouts is really good. And it's definitely a franchise record for most wins and shutouts, and probably the best save percentage and goals against a team player on his team has had. Like, he played in the NHL in his first season, was terrible. We played him in a few years in the AHL. He came back last year, was not the best, and then this year he's getting better even, so hopefully he continues to get growth, and we should lock him up probably, just to make sure we have a good backup goalie. And then Carlson was not that great, but oh well, he's only at 75 and he's not growing, so there's that. Neal got 2 assists. I believe he's getting multiple assists this season as well, which is interesting. Yeah, he's got back-to-back 2 assist seasons. So there you go on the goalie front. Let's take a quick look at the entire league for points and stuff, because I am curious on that. So the best 4 this year is Elias with 104. Svechnikov and Zegras up there with 102, and Casey Dawes up there for Arizona with 101. Best goal scorer this season is going to be a tie between Melvin Lowry, who we could have drafted at 4th overall, and also Casey Dawes, both 56 goal scorers. Magnuson, that guy that was franchise, scored 46 goals in his 2nd season, I think that is. It's crazy. Best defenseman for points, Adam Fox in Vegas. Brant Clark also up there with 71 points. So there we go. Goalie-wise, Luukkonen hit 45 wins this year. Crazy. Best most shutouts by a starting goalie is Carter Hart. Best save percentage by a starter is going to be Thatcher Demko with a 913. And best goals against average by a starter is going to be Carter Hart with a 263. Interesting. So there's that front. Best rookie this year is going to be Mark Lapierre, who was a 15th overall pick a few years back with 50 points. Louis had 42 points. This guy was the 2nd overall pick. Looks like a lot of the guys didn't pick up a lot of points, which is kind of weird. Edwin Green up there as well. Interesting. So there you go in terms of the rookies. Actually, let's take a quick look at the AHL stats as well, just because I'm kind of curious on the player stats from the minors. So, let's see what we got here. Ferraro's not going to grow much, but that's okay. A couple 50-point seasons, which is good to see them score more with the new coaches. What else we got here for good prospects? Does Vorobiev have a good prospect? No, he's not. Can't remember always these good prospects in the AHL right now. Sloan was down there in the AHL. I forgot that we signed him, but he's probably gone, which is unfortunate, but whatever. Defensive prospects. Here we go. Eichel, 43 points this year. He's only a 68 at 21, so he's not really growing much, but he's going to be probably a good AHL defender, it looks like. Farrell still 76 potentially. 42 points is really good. Hopefully he cracks the NHL team next season to make our defensive core even stronger. Pusher, 40 points up to 71. That's not bad. Lichten Little had some good points. Kalinin was pretty solid as well. And Vaiaholi was pretty solid too. Best goaltender, okay, that's not terrible. Sean Cox, still 74 apparently, but 25 wins in his first AHL season. Not bad. And Taves was actually really good as the backup. Wow. Was not expecting that from Taves. And 916 save percentage. Very interesting. Cox had 3 assists as the AHL goaltender, so that's interesting as well for an 18-year-old goaltender. So there we go on that front. Let's simulate up to the awards and all that stuff, see who wins the Stanley Cup this season, because I am curious on all that type of stuff, and we will also see where we're drafting and all that type of thing too. So who's going to be the Stanley Cup champion for 29-30? And how long is it going to be before this team is actually a playoff team? We're probably, I think, a couple years out. As long as we could get that bottom 6 to being a little bit better, we could probably make it. And we got to make sure our coaching staff stays on par too. That type of thing. So Arizona is going to win the Stanley Cup in 2030, and Wilkes-Barre wins the AHL. So there you go in terms of the award winners, or well, cup winners, I should say. Playoff tree-wise, Arizona beat Washington in 5 games to win the Stanley Cup, probably because of Casey Dawes, my guess. But there's the playoff bracket in case you guys wanted to take a look at that. Award-wise, yep, Arizona Stanley Cup, Colorado President's Trophy, Arizona Washington Stanley Cup Finals. Elias wins the Art Ross, Trevor Zegras the Hart, Brandt Clark wins the Norris, that's kind of interesting. Clayton Keller wins the Lady Byng for the 2nd straight season. Zharkov for Colorado wins the Calder. Casey Dawes wins the Conn Smythe. This guy must be unreal in the playoffs. Carter Hart the Vezina for Toronto. Swayman and Korpisalo get the Jennings for Edmonton. Bjornfot the Masterton. O'Reilly for the Rangers to Jack Adams. Barkov wins the Selke. Zegras the Lindsay. And Casey Dawes to Richard. Actually, him and Melvin Lowry share it. My bad. That's an interesting one. Actually, I was going to take a look and see if there's any awards for AHL affiliates. See if there's any guys in the system getting awards. No, there's not. Not a surprise. So there is that. Let me take a look at what Casey Dawes did in the playoffs for Arizona as well, because I'm curious on that. He had 15 goals and 38 points in the playoffs. God damn. That's a lot of points. He beat Connor McDavid in the Stanley Cup Finals. Wow. 38 points in the playoffs. That might be one of the best playoffs of all time. He's over a point per game in the playoffs, this guy, too. He was the first overall pick in the year that we expanded into the NHL, I think, so that's kind of nuts. Yeah, him and Clayton Keller must have really good chemistry or something. And then their number 1 center is not Barrett Hayton. Barrett Hayton's in Edmonton. Huh. Must be Bo Horvat. Yeah, it's got to be Horvat. He's got 19 points in 24 games in those playoffs. Buchnevich was also really good, too. So yeah, Arizona, very deep team apparently now. So there you go in terms of the awards. Let's sim up to the retirements and the draft lottery results. Where are we going to be drafting this year? We're jumping up from 7 to 2. So once again, we have a top 5 pick. I thought we weren't going to have a top 5 pick this year because we play good. But the draft lottery sim jumps us from 7 to 2. So we got a top 5 pick again. St. Louis, who had 2nd overall last year, has now 1st overall. So it's St. Louis and us this time around. Carolina, New Jersey, and Winnipeg. So hopefully St. Louis gives us a gift, considering we gave them Louis in a sense, the 84 overall, at 2nd overall. And then we end up getting the worser overall players. So hopefully they give us a gift at number 2 in exchange, basically. So there is that. Retired player-wise, who retired this year? Patrick Kane retires. John Tavares, Tarasenko, Nugent Hopkins. Some pretty big offensive names. Not really a lot of big defensive names, apparently. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. Okay, so the number one defenseman that retired was Trouba. Lindholm also up there, that type of thing. Best goalie that retired this year, Elvis Merzlikins. Also Philip Grubauer, Jake Allen, Jack Campbell. Some solid goaltenders, nonetheless. So there you go. But yeah, we have the second overall pick this year, and we did not take a look at the draft class yet, so that's interesting. So Nazem Kadri is now a coach. That's interesting too. Did we lose any coaches ourselves? No, I don't think. Yeah, no, we did not. Good. Considering we just brought in coaches, it would not be nice to lose them right away. Okay, so let's see what we could get with our second overall pick, which kind of, I don't like that we have a second overall pick because it's now going to make our team even harder to keep together, but we just missed out on a franchise player, it looks like. Unless St. Louis wants to give us this gift, but unfortunately, Zach Bieksa, who is the franchise player, and he's similar to Wayne Gretzky, apparently as a winger, which is interesting too, is going to be going to the St. Louis Blues. And we're going to either get stuck with a center, Ricardo Hartnell. Ricardo Hartnell, interesting. That's what he looks like. Small little dude, but he's a gem. There's also Xavier Dingman, who's also a gem. Looks like this, similar to Patrick Kane. So he might actually be decent. There's also like guys like Benzina, who looks pretty decent. And also Matty Niemanen, who looks like this. Interesting. I don't know which guy we'd go with in this top 5, but I wish we could have got Bieksa, but oh well. I mean, franchise player would have been really nice, but this team, I don't really know if we need another good elite forward is the thing. It's weird. So I don't know who we go with our first pick. I'm just scrolling through the rest of the first round, and I'll sort by potential so you guys can see the later rounds, but yeah, our scouts are definitely doing a much better job at the moment. So there's the rest of like the first round. Let's sort by potential. Any good steals that we could get in the later rounds. There's a guaranteed medium elite goalie if we want another one. We'll just pin him in case, because why not? This guy might be decent as well, Canon. What else we got here? These guys are probably not medium elites. Low elite wise, there is a low elite playmaker who's a center in Byron Farrell, which I think is probably going to be one of our picks for sure, because that gives us a bit more depth on center. It looks like he's going to be pretty solid out of the draft as well, and he's a low elite potential, so I'm going to pin him. Pat Cutler also looks pretty good for maybe a second round pick. He might actually be low elite, so we'll pin him too. Ryan Danner looks really good as a defenseman. If we want a defender, there might be another low elite. There's also a gem, so this guy's probably low elite, but he does not look that good. Matthew Bork. Still, since he's listed as a gem, I'll pin him. This draft actually might be pretty decent as well. So there is all that. Looks like, yeah, some top 6s go in the late first round and even in the second round as well. This guy's a good scorer, apparently. Rainer Grice. Voutilainen's also there. This guy also has good shooting, but he's already 20. Interesting. Yeah, this is going to be a good draft, I think, as well, to help us fill out our team for the rest of it, and hopefully we could be a playoff team. And look at that, there's a Jaskalainen guy in the draft. Mikko. Good shooting categories. We might have to draft that guy at some point, just because of Jaskalainen's in the past in draft glories, you know. And there's a guy with the last name Griffin, too, in the same draft. And there's another gem, too. We'll pin him. Damn, yeah, this is going to be an interesting draft for us. For sure. So that is that. Let's take a quick look at the progress reports and the contract situation, and that'll be it for this episode. So progress report wise, let's see if we got any good growth. So it looks like some statistical growth. Yeah, mostly from Parrott. Also some natural growth to face-offs and to poise for Derek Keith, which is nice to see. Zykov didn't really get any growth. Only a little bit to his face-offs as well. His face-offs are at 89. That's why he won so much face-offs. Jeez. Like, it sucks that this guy's locked up long-term in a sense because he's not performing too well now. But his face-off numbers are unreal, so hopefully we can keep him together for quite a while. Like, he's honestly like maybe a future Jaskalainen with those face-off numbers. Claxon getting a lot of growth here, and mostly all natural, or actually every single thing is natural. That's great to see. Left wing wise, Bickle, no growth whatsoever. which is kind of surprising based on his season. Festerini got a lot of growth, but most of it is statistical. Cox, mostly statistical growth. Same with Hull, probably. Yeah, statistical growth, but he did drop to his 76, it says, which is unfortunate. Jorgensen, statistical growth, not a surprise. Villette, statistical. And then defensively, Zhikov got natural growth, and we locked him up long term for a little bit, so that's good. Rosa also getting some natural growth, and we locked him up, which is great. Eric Halla got a lot of growth to his offensive awareness a bit, which is great. His poise went up, his shot went up too. His defensive stats also went up, and then his skating went up and physical. So, yeah, it's good to see. We have an actual NHL defensive core pretty much at this stage. Coley Mining got a lot of natural growth as well, but he's a lower overall now than Eric Halla. Strachan, no growth whatsoever, so hopefully we can lock him up as a top 6 defenseman. And looks like Kalinin got a lot of growth as well, which is good, so he might end up making a 78 at the NHL level. Farrell also got some growth too, so those guys might compete for a roster spot next season. And then Neal got, looks like, some natural growth. And Cox is up to a 76 after 1 year in the AHL. A lot of natural growth. He might be our backup next season, or he should be our backup next season, but we should see if he's actually NHL ready at that point. And then AHL award, or not award-wise, NHL growth-wise, this is what it looks like. Looks like we're getting some growth, which is good, but we don't have a whole lot of good prospects down there. Walzer got a little bit of growth from his NHL season. A lot of unsigned guys that are still. Eichel got a lot of growth apparently, but he's still 68. Vihole didn't grow much. Bouwmeester got a lot of growth as a low top 4. That's not bad. And then goalie-wise, Tays got a lot of growth after that season, which he should. A lot of natural growth for a fringe starter. He's up to a 75 at 21. Interesting. So there is that, and finally the contract situation for this upcoming offseason. As you can see, this is who's up for renewal. We got a lot of money that we have to be spending, I guess, in this offseason. Because Keith is going to be expensive right now. We might have to just qualify him until he's on his last year of RFA status. Bickle is only a few years out from being a UFA, so we got to decide if we want to give him like a big contract or what. Strachan, we could easily lock this guy up for 8 years as a top 6 defenseman if we wanted. Claxon, could probably lock this guy up as an 8 year. Yeah, 8 years is like probably like a 3rd line center or 4th line center or a depth 4 even. But yeah, should be able to lock up some of these guys for long-term deals, which is good because we definitely need to have that to be competitive. And then Neal, he wants a lot of money as a starting goalie already, which is kind of weird. So we might have to qualify him for a bit just to see if we can get him for less and that type of thing. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to another offseason. And hopefully this team is starting getting close to being a playoff team. So you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.